In our next conversation, we will dig a little deeper into the proliferating importance of the first mover strategies and advantages. Please join me in welcoming the dynamic duo of Patrice Wolfe, CEO, AGS Healthcare, and Manoj Kohli, country head Softbank, as they get in a dialogue on emerging realities facing CEOs, bold first moves.
Hello, I'm Patrice Wolfe. I'm the CEO of AGS Health, and I'm joined here by Manoj Kohli. And we're going to talk about emerging realities that are facing us as CEOs today. So I want to start just talking about some of the challenges that I face, and then I'll turn it over to Manoj. So I work in healthcare, specifically with US hospitals and physician practices. And we face two big challenges today, and they're really two sides of the same coin, in my opinion. And the first is just this tectonic shift in workforce that we're experiencing globally. So our customers as hospitals and healthcare providers have just seen a dramatic shift in their workforce. They've lost physicians and nurses who have spent 2 years treating COVID patients. They've had to fire employees who won't be vaccinated because some of the federal reimbursement requires that in the United States. And then they've just been subject to, the great resignation. So they're really struggling with handling just basic business operations. And the flip side of the coin is that that's a lot of work opportunity for us at AGS Health. But we also have been facing workforce challenges, particularly in our India operations in certain areas. So there's really no easy answer for these types of business challenges that both our customers and those of us in the BPO space are facing. I think that there's some interesting issues around how we solve this problem. I talked to a lot of CEOs, and I think we all agree that what worked for us in the past doesn't work anymore. We've had to be very creative about how we attract talented employees. And it's not just about money. One of the things that to me is really interesting about this whole shift is that the workforce increasingly is focused on other issues, things around values and social challenges and ESG. They want to work in companies that represent the kinds of value systems they have themselves. And they've got enough demand that they can be choosy about how they do this. And we as employers have to continue to really be creative and to identify new ways to attract a mobile and a talented workforce. And I think that's just one of the most challenging management issues that we're facing today. So Manoj, how have things evolved for you in terms of your people strategy, and how are you seeing leadership styles change?
Thank you, Patrice. Yes, I agree with you. Last 2 years have been challenging for CEOs. CEOs have definitely introspected their leadership styles. They have changed wherever they could. Wherever CEOs are more bold, I think they have changed more. Wherever they're less, they are struggling to change. So it's a leadership challenge, I believe, across the world, across the corporate world. I have friends in US and India and many other parts of the world where I listen to such challenges every day. And clearly, recovery of business is uppermost in their mind. That how the adverse impact of pandemic can be mitigated. And also at the same time, how people can be kept engaged and motivated to do their best. And I think these are difficult objectives to meet concurrently, because once you try to recover up to the pre-COVID times, people are stretched. and not only stretched, but they're stressed. And I think that is where the problem arises. And that's why what you said is right, that a lot of people are leaving because their personal values, their core values are not aligned with the purpose of the company. And I think there's a conflict, hence they want to go to a place which appreciates their core values much more and follows um, good purpose for the society. So I believe that uh, CEOs have faced three kind of challenges in this period of last 2 years. One is that how will the financial fitness sustain? Because the financial health has been troubled and people have not been able, companies have not been able to sustain good performance. Some have fallen much more, some have fallen partially. Some have, very few have improved also, but majority of them have been adversely affected. So CEO's first job is to get the financial health back. And that's a challenge which is not easy because they have to do a lot of cost efficiency, productivity improvements, delivery improvements, and get the customers back to spend that much money. The second challenge which CEOs are facing, which is a new challenge, is that how to keep the innovation engine running as fast as, or maybe faster than pre-pandemic times. And I think because the future of each brand is linked to how much innovation it does, how it can outpace the competition through new products, features, new services. And that is what is a challenge during these 2 years. Because when people's minds are troubled, how to get them to focus on creativity, new ideas, new innovations, etc., of the product and services, not easy. But few companies have been able to do it, and I think remarkable actions and initiatives by CEOs have been there. The third challenge, which is a bigger challenge, and I think you mentioned it, is the challenge of empathy. Leaders and especially CEOs, are they empathetic to employee problems during these times when employees have personal problems, health problems, family issues? They're working from home. That also has side effects. So how empathetic organization is, how sensitive it is, how many adjustments it makes so that employees can be comfortable or employees can do their best in the context of pandemic when families are in trouble. There's a health problem, there's somebody who's passed away in some families. So much has happened in the last 2 years. So companies who have shown empathy, CEOs who have led that empathetic attitude will survive and sustain and do better in the times to come. And companies who have not done that, CEOs who have been much more, I will say, cold, will struggle, will have problems in future because employees are not being loyal to such companies. So broadly, that is what, Patrice, I think, from my vantage point. Okay, moving on. In my view, the speed of technology change and transformation is at the peak now. We find that in the last few years, as we've gone through pandemic, and even before pandemic, the speed of change of technology has overtaken many, many businesses, has overtaken how we work, how we engage, how we serve customers, how we serve our employees, how we serve our vendors, stakeholders. And I think that's been dramatic shift in the last few years, much more than ever in the past. And similarly, in my view, is that the technology impact in the next decade, in the coming decade, will be the highest ever, maybe more than last 100 years impact, which means that technology is kind of overtaking us. And if we don't keep pace, if we don't understand implications, if we don't adjust and acclimatize ourselves as CEOs or leaders, I think it'll not have the positive impact which we deserve to get. So this also shows that people resilience is critical because the change is so bigger, much bigger than the past, and change is also much faster than the past. So people have to really show resilience, strength, internal strength, team strength, cultural strengths only to all this to cope with, not only cope with, but also succeed in this new environment of technology transformation. And I believe that building digital transformation has been a big move by many, many corporations. Not only digital transformation, but also using technologies like robots, like drones, like AI, machine learning, and many other new ideas, which people are utilizing, companies are utilizing and benefiting from it. Blockchain, for example, many companies have adopted that. So in this situation, how is the workforce responding? How the workforce is reacting to these major changes? And because these are disruptions, these are not simple things. These are technology disruptions of sectors, various industries, various companies. And within the sectors, many companies are uh, moving much faster with great confidence. And some companies are not able to appreciate the transformation and also take the transformations to the mindsets of employees. How is this technology transformation impacting the sector, especially your company? How is it doing? How are you trying to involve the workforce? How are you coaching them? How are you aligning their goals for future to this big change?
Sure. Yeah, no, it is a very big change. And, in many ways, technology is it's a partial solution to the workforce, this tectonic shift in workforce that I was talking about earlier. So in the healthcare industry in the United States, in general, we've been slow to adopt technology. And some of that is because healthcare is a very regulated industry. But one of the things that I think is driving rapid technology adoption is just this issue around workforce. So if you can't find skilled labor to perform a certain job, automating as much of that job as you possibly can is one solution. And so what we're seeing in the healthcare industry is an enormous appetite from our customers to adopt technology and basically leave the more complex work to people. And this is a trend that has been going on for decades in healthcare, but at a slow pace. And I completely agree with your point that the speed of technology adoption has definitely picked up. And I'm a big fan of this because I think one of the challenges we face in many industries is what we call in healthcare, allowing people to practice at the top of their license, meaning that we give people jobs and career opportunities that make the most of the skills they have. We minimize the amount of repetitive, low value work that people are doing, and we replace that with the use of RPA, as you said, AI, ML. We use technology to do the lower value, high volume things so that we can give people rewarding career paths because the work they're doing is more interesting. And I'll give you an example of this. We recently, a few months ago, made an acquisition of a company that is based on artificial intelligence and machine learning. And what this company does is it takes information that physicians are documenting and turns it into charting that normally a human has to do. And it's fairly lengthy and complex clinical work. And so artificial intelligence has the ability to automate some of this work. And the whole point of AI is it gets smarter the more exposure it gets to more and more scenarios, more and more records. So what we're able to do with this tool is we're able to take the staff that we have who have this very important skill set, and we're making their work more efficient by eliminating some of the day-to-day easier stuff that now the tool can do, and they're more focused on more complex clinical issues. And this is enormously appealing to our customers because it's more cost effective to them, it's higher quality, and it's great for our people from a career path perspective. So I think that some of these rapid changes in technology actually have very positive impacts for career paths for what are now becoming just incredibly valuable employees in companies.
I agree, Patrice. I think similar changes I'm seeing in healthcare in India, especially India, because the physical infrastructure is not as strong as US. Therefore, the digital and technology-led transformation is more important because we have to take a leap as a country. And I can see in the last 2 years that leap has been much, much stronger than the past.
I think with the last 2 years and the pandemic, obviously, there have been many very dramatic leaps of faith that many companies have had to make. And, even I see in India just the incredible speed with which we were able to move people to work from home across multiple industries in India, and the appetite for change among the Indian professionals. I remain in awe, flexibility and speed and openness to change that people experience in India. It's very inspirational. But I would say, your question to me about what kind of bold move have I made in the last few years? When I joined AGS, it was really a pure play BPO organization with some internal technology enablement. And, we benefit financially from our customers' need for human capital. But, as we discussed, the role of technology is transformational in industries, and you can't pretend it's not going to happen. You have to take advantage of it. You have to be at the forefront of it. And the future is, in my opinion, technology first solutions for customers. I mentioned that we made an acquisition last year that puts us squarely in the technology space. And, it has the potential to cannibalize our core BPO business, right? Because as we use technology to do things that humans were doing before, that has the potential to compromise us from a revenue perspective. But it's so critical to me that we're part of this technology move forward that that is just really incidental. We need to do the right thing for our customers in our industry. And that means shift our business from being pure human capital based to being more, as I said, technology first. And that was a little counterintuitive to people when I said, we're going to become a technology company, knowing that it's going to shift the kinds of work and the sources of revenue that we get from our customers. But it's absolutely the right thing to do. And as I said before, I also feel that this move to truly technology first solutions, it gives better career paths for our employees. It allows us to chart a course for the future of the company that's more exciting. And while I personally come from a technology background, a lot of my leaders and managers did not. And it was a leap of faith for them to come along on that ride with me. So what about you, Manoj?
As a leader, I've also taken many leaps of faith as you described yours. Let me start with a personal example, and then I'll go to the portfolio. Firstly, when I led a telecom company called Airtel, I took a bold move of changing the business model into something unique, something new, changing the brand, upgrading the brand, something which was 0 to going up to #1 in the country across categories, and also building a very high performance culture, people culture. And I think it was very bold because many people did not give me a high possibility of success. But luckily I was blessed. I had a great team, great team which was committed, very dedicated to the cause, and we all together, shoulder to shoulder, we worked together. It took us 2 3 years, but we came out winners. And even today, that company, that brand is a winner brand. So to me, it proves that if you have high conviction, and if you are bold, and if you have a good team to support you, you will do it. You will be able to do it. It may take time. Yes, you need a bit of patience. Same thing, I think many of our portfolio companies are doing. But what you said is very important, that they are all technology led. That is the difference between 10 years, 20 years back and now. And I think they're utilizing technology to a great advantage in each businesses, because luckily, all our Softbank businesses in India are digital technology based and led by technology, utilizing technology to great advantage for customers, for employees, for stakeholders, and digitized end to end. So I think that really helps. And I see in this period, many of our founders and CEOs doing the same, taking bold moves towards new products, new ideas, new innovations, surprising the customers by the creativity of the team, by making the customer life simpler and convenient and easy. I think that's been a fantastic move in the last 2 years, because digitization, many people don't understand fully, especially people who are not that educated or don't understand technology. But I think due to this making it easy revolution in the last 2 years, many customers, even in small towns and villages, have understood how to use apps, how to use various uh, services which our companies offer, and use them regularly. So I feel this has been a fantastic transformation of consumer behavior.
We're very far behind a lot of other types of products and services that consumers use on a regular basis. And it is the consumer that pushes for a lot of this change. People can't understand why they can't schedule a doctor's visit online or schedule a surgery online. There are some complexities behind some of that, but the way we use our phones and the way we use technology in every aspect of our life, when we come across one element where we can't do it that way, we have to pick up the phone and make a phone call. That pressure, that dissatisfaction drives innovation. And I'm really happy to see how much has changed quickly, because it helps drive the US healthcare industry to be better and more technically competent.
I agree, Patrice. And let me give you one more example of fintech. In India, fintech has been in the past not very fast growing, but because of our physical infrastructure being a bit weaker, we don't have enough bank branches or ATMs, but we have 4G in 3G and 4G all across rural towns, rural villages. So customers in those small towns and villages are also able to use 3G, 4G services and use fintech. And now India has become number one in fintech transactions, basically
Yeah.
because people are able to utilize it with ease, also see the benefits, and have a trust that these financial transactions are safe and secure. So I feel that this change has been marvelous change. And if fintech transactions happen with ease and trust, then all other sectors like healthcare, like education, like many others, will also benefit, because each sector involves some degree of fintech transaction, some payment.
Yes.
So payment becomes easy. People trust that it is safe. Hence, let me use more healthcare. Let me use more education benefits through digital technology. So this has been a very major change in the psyche of customers, and also led by CEOs who are bold.
Very, very well said. Yeah. And more exciting things to come, I'm sure.
Yes, I agree with you. Thank you, Patrice.
Thank you very much, Manoj.
All the best.
Thank you, Manoj and Patrice, for your participation and the detailed inputs. Now we'll proceed to the next session. Stay tuned and keep the engagement high on social media using the hashtag ETHRNextTech.